This conference will now be recorded.
Okay, good evening, everybody. It is June the 2nd already. And this is the high-risk recurrent advanced group. This is Rick Davis, and I'm in the lead for tonight. And I've also got Dr. John here as an additional moderator. And that's all right now. So just the two of us. We've got a couple of new gents. Want to say, as always, show appreciation to our sponsors, who are J&J, Novartis, Bayer, Foundation Medicine, Myriad, Blue Earth, and Telix. There's been quite a bit going on this week, and you've probably seen some of that in the reminder. If the two new gents are not signed up for the reminder, please put your emails in the chat window, which are the two little boxes in the top right, and we will be sure to sign you up. If you don't want to put your email out publicly, you can send it to me directly by clicking on where it says everyone in the bottom right. But we would like to be able to send you reminders for each week to remind you of the meeting. Our meetings are on the first and third Mondays and the second and fourth Tuesdays, and the Tuesday meetings start earlier. What else? Oh, we don't give medical advice. That's the one I always forget, but other people don't forget, like Dr. John. We don't give medical advice. We only speak from our experience, which, to be honest, is quite broad. And we try to navigate you so that you become your best possible advocate. Oh, I like Paul K's email. How much chuck would a woodchuck chuck if a woodchuck could chuck wood? Right? Very nice. Thank you. So I am going to start with Mr. Alvord, because he was. I saw him first. I don't want to say he was here first, because he may not have been. And then we'll go on. And what I'm going to do, Bob, is ask you a few questions, and we'll go from there.
Thank
so, how old are you, Bob?
70 years old.
70. One of our not very younger men, but sort of on the younger side, so feel good about that. And where do you live?
30 half hour from Sacramento in a place called Plumas Lake.
What lake?
Plumas Lake.
Plumas Lake. Do you know it, Matt?
Near Yuba City, Sacramento.
Oh, Yuba City, Pluma Lake. Anything, Matt? Anything good to see on Plumas Lake? You're muted. There you go.
Yeah, that's the Pacific Flyway. Lots to see.
Lots to see. Okay, thank you. Matt's our wildlife expert in the Sacramento area. So if you have any wildlife questions, you can send them in. And that reminds me of something else. Please reach out to any of the guys in the group individually through messaging them if you want to connect with them. I don't think there's one guy in here who will say no if you reach out and say, can I have your email address and can we talk later? The guys are all, we don't have a formal system like Imam Angels, which does, and we recommend for peer-to-peer navigation, but every one of these guys is only too willing to help you. Okay, Plumas Lake. When were you first diagnosed?
2015.
Okay. And what was your Gleason score at the time that you were diagnosed?
At that time, they took a biopsy. Two out of 10 cores were positive. One was a 3.3. The other one was a 3.4.
Ooh. Ooh, you're one of those guys. Okay, we got your number. And what was um and what was your PSA at the time?
At that time, 6.2.
Okay. And where were you being treated?
At Kaiser, Sacramento.
Yes, I I figured that without even asking, but yes, okay. And
I'm now with Sutter Medical, though.
I beg your pardon?
I am now with Sutter Medical on
Oh, Dr. Alfredo will be pleased to hear that.
I'm with
Uh,
Dr. Galshan, yeah, out at in Roseville.
okay, so I'll come down to that.
Sure.
But one of our gents in the room today was a very senior executive in at Sutter, but I think it was before. But I always get confused with Dr. Alfredo, so I won't say anything more. Um, Now, what sort of treatment did you have originally?
Brachytherapy.
Oh, we got something in common.
I saw the video of the robotic cutting and cauterizing on YouTube and scared the hell out of me. So it pushed me to the seeds.
Did you get your brachytherapy at Roseville?
um, no, I still got it. I was still um, I got it through Kaiser, Sacramento, and when I turned 65, I got into Medicare, and that's when I switched over to Sutter Medical.
Okay, so but back in 2015, when you got your brachytherapy, you were at Kaiser, right?
That's correct.
And so didn't you get your brachytherapy at Roseville at that time?
Um, I
That's
don't.
that's where they were doing it.
Okay.
That's all right. Dr.
Yeah,
Smith, does Dr. Smith ring a bell?
it doesn't. It's been so long, to be
Oh.
honest with you.
Well, let me tell you, I had brachytherapy from Dr. Smith in 2008 in Roseville, so it's been even longer for me. So
Okay.
that's why I ask you. And I was in the Bay Area, and they sent me up to Roseville to get the brachy because they were doing all the brachy out of Roseville. Um, so
I believe you're right, by the way.
okay. Um, so you had seeds. Um, and what was the result of that treatment?
Um, Everything fine, and then uh, doing doing the annual blood tests after 5 years of annual blood tests, and then it started ticking up last couple of years, so got down to every 6 months, and then it started doubling a little bit quicker until it got up to 3.71, and so since it's a recurrent situation, they did a PSMA PET scan at that point.
And was that last year?
No, that was this year. The PSA was in March, and I had the PSMA in May.
Okay, so we'll come back to the PSMA in a minute.
Okay.
Um, what was the lowest your PSA got to?
Um, currently, you mean?
No, after treatment.
Oh, after treatment, it was like around point 0.2, some nadir, low nadir around point 0.2.
Okay. Okay, so they scanned you at 3.71, and what did they find?
They found metastasis to bilateral sides of both sides of the pelvis in the and bone met to L2 lumbar and a couple of ribs. I don't know where they were identified at. And they did a biopsy of of one of my lymph nodes in the pelvis area.
Okay, now by this time you're now getting treatment at Sutter.
Yes.
And what did you say is the name of your doctor there?
Dr. Gaushan,
Gaushan.
Gauchan, I believe.
Okay. We have a gentleman who attends this group called Gaushan. I think it means big river or big tree or big something or the other. I looked it up. Now, what type of doctor is Dr. Gaushan?
He's an oncologist. I also have a team with radiology, oncology, urology, and all the other folks, nutritionists, social workers, a couple of others that I can't think of right off
Okay.
the top. But those are the main ones.
And does Dr. Gaushan, is he a general medical oncologist or does he specialize in genitourinary cancers?
I'm pretty sure he's. I'm not positive, but it seems to be an oncologist and not specific to prostate oncology. I may be wrong though.
Well, that's very, very, very important. Cannot stress how important that is. So you might want to look into that.
Okay.
You must, in our view, this is AnCan's view, you should only be with a doctor that specializes in GU medical oncology, because the field is moving so quickly and the general medical oncologists just cannot keep up with it. And so they may not be practicing with best practices. They're probably using standard of care, but that may not be the best. So we really encourage you. If I know Dr. John, he's probably looking up Gaushan right now and he's going to tell us.
A mind reader, huh?
Am I right, Dr.
Yes,
John?
you are. A quick look. Dr. Drawn Gaushan. It looks like a general medical oncologist.
Okay. So we'll keep talking with you and then we'll come up with a list of stuff at the end. What treatment, when was this PSMA done?
In May.
In May. This last month. It's just been done.
Early May.
Right. So has Dr. Gaushan put you on any treatment yet?
Initially, when I got the PSA, my urologist put me on bicalutamide, told me to take it for 60 days and start apalutamide after that, and also gave me the Lupron shot on that day back in May. So I've gone through I've gone through all of the Casodex, and I started apalutamide 28 days ago,
Okay.
and I'm due for another shot in another couple months.
So, Dr. Alfredo, it's so disappointing to hear that. I mean, I don't know if you see it as I see it.
Yes,
right
I do.
there,
I do.
right there, your doc's out of line. He should have given you the bicalutamide 15 days or 20 days before you started. He gave you the Lupron shot, or he should have given you a Firmagon shot, or he should have put you on Orgovix.
That was
But
my
giving you,
urologist. Yeah, that was
well,
Dr.
whoever it was,
Yeah.
should have done that. and they should know better. You know, I was talking to somebody today, a very, very dear friend of mine from grad school who's on our advisory board. And he's had 2 instances of breast cancer in his family recently, not him. And he was saying to me that at Kaiser, they are so good. He lives in LA. He said, Kaiser, they're so good about handing off immediately to the medical oncologist. I said, well, that's not the case with Kaiser for prostate cancer, I can tell you. And the problem is these urologists practice without knowledge. And what he did was wrong, because the lupron causes a flare. He doesn't know exactly where all of the lesions are. He gives you the bicalutamide to protect you, and he's giving you the bicalutamide a week to 2 weeks to do the protection, because that's how long it's going to take. That's the period during which your testosterone is going to surge before it drops. And it's not enough. So that's why we want to see you with a GU medical oncologist. The second thing is apalutamide is an interesting choice. Do you have any comorbidities? Do you have any heart issues or high blood pressure or anything like that?
Yeah, I had a heart attack in '99.
Okay.
So I have heart disease, high blood pressure,
Okay.
high glucose, that kind of stuff.
Okay.
Diabetic.
So that justifies the apalutamide, because the abiraterone comes with more um,
Cardiac issues and
cardiac issues and metabolic syndrome issues. So the apalutamide, so that explains. And you know, it's a toss up in many ways between apalutamide and enzalutamide, but I think it's a smart choice, and apalutamide over enzalutamide. Did they do any type of genetic testing for you?
Yes, they did. They did 76 different DNA tests. Um, I'm. I wish I had all this stuff more.
It's
Here.
okay. It's okay. Question: was that to see if you inherited anything from your parents, or was that to see if you made anything in your own body?
Certainly, the one that from the parents that was done, and there was no breaky one or breaky two associated.
Okay. They should do, and it is guidelines with metastatic lesions. They should do a somatic test too, and you
I,
can
I believe
ask.
they did. I believe they did, and plus they're going to send some of the biopsy to Veris or Caris or one of those.
Caris. Okay,
Caris.
that's good. So that's in the works.
That's
Now,
in the works.
how
Yeah.
many lesions did you have altogether? You mentioned lumbar and ribs and possibly a lymph node. How many spots altogether were there?
I believe. Um, um, I don't. I'm not quite sure how many lymph nodes were involved, but it said lymph nodes on both sides. I know somewhere in the reports they talk about the size and location and all that. Um, but lymph nodes, I think on both sides. I don't know how many on each side. L2 and then a couple of ribs.
Okay. So I think that you need to count up and figure it out, because if you had more than five, then you need to be having a discussion with your medical oncologist, and you may need to switch your medical oncologist. Because again, the guidelines are, unless you have significant comorbidities that prevent it, the guidelines are that if you have more than five, some doctors say more than four, then the best treatment to go with initially is triplet, which includes chemotherapy, which you may not want to hear, but we know works the best.
My oncologist said well, they have a tumor board convening this Wednesday, and they said if we can't have radiology oncology do some radiation treatment, I assume to the lymphs and the bone, then he was suggesting putting me on Pluvicto.
Well, that's a very, very weird choice so early on in the disease cycle. And it's like he's heard about Pluvicto. He thinks it sounds like a good idea. He may be right, but it would be a very, very. It would be the first time we've heard here, which doesn't mean much, but it
And
would be the first time we've ever heard of
do you
somebody
still have to
being
be
put
on?
on
Yeah.
Pluvicto so early in the disease in the cycle of recurrence. But he can do it now because they just changed the approval. But I think we would be asking, is that a smart sequencing?
Is it?
Well,
don't know.
again, if it was me, I wouldn't be doing it at this point in time. But we'll open it. We're going to open it up in a couple of minutes because I know we've got one other guy, and I'd like to try and get through this in 10 minutes, but I
Yeah.
find it very easy. One last question, and then I'm going to open it up. How'd you hear about us, Bob?
When I was diagnosed with stage 4 metastatic prostate cancer, of course, I'm a information sponge. So I've been stalking you guys and other guys, and I find that this is maybe the most informative of the different groups, and I appreciate the motivation and the passion. I see the passion, so I appreciate it.
Okay. Do you have any questions you'd like this room to answer for you or clarify?
Basically, I just wanted to kind of see possibly, whenever they come, when Sutter comes to me with their plan, I would like to take that to UC Davis Comprehensive Cancer Centers,
Yeah.
and then get a second opinion
Yeah.
of that plan, and
Yeah.
then kind of go from there. Is my thought thinking.
So, well, since we're on the subject and we will move on very quickly, let me give you two names
Okay.
at UC Davis. They're both good, but we'd rather see you, even though it's a longer drive, at UCSF.
Rick, I was going to say the same thing, and I was just going to bypass the names at UC Davis and try to convince this gentleman to go to UCSF, but maybe that's too bold.
Well, I'd love for you to talk, but let me just at least give him the names, okay? So that if he decides that he has to go there, then at least he knows he knows who we're talking about. So one of them is one of them's a Greek name, and that begins with an M, and I'm trying to remember it, and I cannot. And here we go, UC Davis Medoncs. And okay, so one of them is Dr. Mitsiadis. I'm going to put his link in the chat window for you.
Thank you.
Okay.
Okay.
And so the first link is Dr. Mitsiadis, and the second link is Dr. Lara, Lara.
Okay.
And if you do decide to stay local, that's who I would suggest. So now I'm throwing it open, and somebody's got a hand up already. It's Jeff Marchi. Go ahead, Jeff Marchi. And guys, I'd like to try and hold this to maximum 10 minutes.
Yeah, I'm surprised Rick didn't mention this, but there's really a question about how you've been handled at Sutter. The requirement is that if your PSA hits 2 above your low, which is 0.2, you should be having something done, not 3.6. And so you really should make sure you get a GU oncologist.
Well, my
reason.
PSA was 1.71, so got to looking at it closer, then it went from that to 3.71. And
Oh,
at that,
quick.
yeah, and that time, within 3 months, at that time, they ordered the PSMA PET right after
Right.
that.
Okay.
Okay.
Dr. Alfredo, please put in your 2 cents.
Thank you.
You're muted.
My apologies. Sorry about the muting. Well, my 2 cents is I'd like to see you get an opinion at UCSF, even if it's a third opinion. And just as an example, there's a guy in one of my other groups who's in Loomis or Lincoln or somewhere around the Sacramento area. He
Close
flies
enough.
all the way here to MD Anderson. So he bypassed all those other institutions to come to MD Anderson. And he did not have good things to say about the institutions we've been discussing. So, and I guess one thing that I like to remind people is sometimes a third opinion is worthwhile.
Mhm.
I'm sure Rick and Dr. John would agree, and that's all I need to say.
Thank you.
Okay. Anybody else want to say anything?
Yes, I got a question. Are you a veteran, Bob?
No, I'm not.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay.
Is there any family history of cancer?
My father, but he died at 81 of prostate cancer. Mother had breast cancer at 40. But there was no, again, through the genetic testing, there wasn't a link there when they did my analysis.
Right. Other than Jeff Marchi and I, who have both hit on the fact that a GU medonc is required, is there anybody else who wants to say anything about a GU medonc?
Well, I'll vote for that. I think that the treatment of your recurrence was a little bit too little and too late. And so I'm very happy that once you get your somatic testing back, you're going to go see some real experts and going on this.
Current PSA is less than 0.13, and that's the way it's been the last 2 times I've tested.
So that's a good response to the Lupron and the
Apalutamide.
Okay, good.
Okay, yeah, I mean that
very hormone
is
sensitive,
that's
but you
a
still
great.
might need a third drug.
Now, anybody want to say anything to Bob about their view on getting Pluvicto at this stage of his treatment?
If it was me, I'd probably choose chemotherapy for my third drug.
We've discussed it, but I'm sure it's going to be on the radar at some point. Has to.
The Pluvicto?
Taxotere or
the chemo. Yeah.
Yeah.
It does. I mean, I thought the guys would have a lot to say. We've got quite a bunch of Pluvicto veterans, including in this room. Now, we recognize it hasn't been available so early in the disease cycle, but it may be a smart move. I think we just don't know. It may be a very smart move, and it may nail the disease completely, and it may never come back, but we don't have the evidence at this point in time. And I don't know if I'd want to be the guinea pig on it. I think that's one of the issues. There's no basis to give it so early. Although I can understand the logic.
whether there's bone pain or not might have an influence on what happens next. Is your back or rib or pelvis hurting?
No,
Good. Okay.
no pain.
All right. Well, I don't want to squeeze water out of this stone since we need the time. If we haven't addressed anything, come on back next week. Keep us posted. We'll keep working with you. At UCSF, my first choice would be Dr. Agarwal, who we love, but they may give you somebody else. I would suggest checking that before you accept the appointment. Check in with us.
Will do. Thank you so much, Rick.
Okay. And glad to have you. Not glad that you're here, but glad to have you. And it's going to be our privilege to support you.
It's mine as well. Thank you.
Okay, we're going to move on. Bearing in mind, I've got a lot of questions to a lot of people who need time today. And we're going to go to our woodchuck man, Paul.
Hello, all.
Hello, Paul. How'd you come up with that woodchuck?
I used to do woodworking, so I just kind of a woodchucks thing, And,
I see.
a long time ago, so. Yeah.
I see. Okay. So I'm just writing that down onto I have a habit of not copying these down and then I can't find them. OC Woodchucks at msn.com. Okay. So, how old are you, Paul?
I'm 68 years old.
Okay. And where do you live?
I live in Richmond, California, just above Oakland.
Oh, yes, we know that. Because I lived on the other side of the bridge for quite a while.
It's nice over there, too. I love visiting there, but not working there or anything like that.
Yeah, the problem is the people. It's beautiful over there, but you got to deal with the people. You got to deal with those Marinites, and they make you they made me a little crazy. What year were you first diagnosed?
It was in June of last year, so 11 months ago, or almost 12 months ago.
Okay. And what was your Gleason score and PSA level at diagnosis?
4.3 in the Gleason, and I want to say 6 or 6.5 on the PSA.
Okay. And I didn't ask you, but how did you hear about us?
I want to give a little shout out to Jeff Marchi because I know him from another group, and he's invited me here. Thank you, Jeff.
Oh, you must be that Mayo group, I suspect, because that's where he's very active. We know he's
not there.
What's that?
Not there. CSC, I think it was.
Okay, all right. Okay, well, Jeff Marchi walks around during the week carrying the AnCan flag. When we get our new swag shop, we'll have caps, and then he'll be able to wear a cap. So that'll be just fine. The new swag shop is on our radar. Where are you treated?
Kaiser in Oakland.
Ooh.
Uh-oh.
Listen, I was a Kaiser patient at Terra Linda, so I have the T-shirt. Let me start with 4+3. Did they do any scans before they gave you your first treatment?
Yes, they did. They did I want to say a PET scan and a CT scan.
Yeah. And did they see anything?
Yes, that's when they discovered that it metastasized.
Okay, so you were de novo metastatic from the beginning.
Yes, and I came up from Southern California, so my original urologist, through the biopsy, had kind of assumed that it was just confined to the prostate.
Yeah, 4+3 is tricky because sometimes it does require a PSMA scan, and it sounds like they found this with a PSMA scan.
I think so, yeah.
And who is running your care now? Is it a urologist?
An oncologist, and today was the first time I'd heard about a GU medical oncologist. So I have an oncologist, of course, at Kaiser in Oakland.
Right. So the first thing you have to do tomorrow morning is tell them you want to switch your doctor, which is very easy at Kaiser.
Okay.
As you probably know, it's easy at Kaiser. And
yeah, I understand that it's easy. I've never done it though. But,
yeah. And you tell them you want to be switched to Dr. Andrea Hartstark, Harzstark. Jeff Martin.
I'm sorry, HANZ what? I'm sorry.
HARZSTARK. Doctor Jeff Marchi will be kind enough to write that in the chat window for you. Okay. Now, for many years,
you want me to give her phone number too?
Well, you can do what you wish, but it isn't on us, and it's not necessary. But you definitely
he has to be given. The thing is, I'm not sure Sacramento can actually have her.
This gentleman is in Richmond.
Oakland, Richmond.
He goes to Sacramento.
No.
Yeah.
Richmond and Oakland.
Oh, that's right, Oakland. You're Oakland. I'm sorry. I thought I talked to you about Hartstark. I thought I mentioned.
Yeah,
it.
I've heard the name lots of times, and that's who I'm going to reach out to. I just didn't know how to spell it.
Okay. Well,
I'll put it in there.
Well,
thank you, Jeff.
So I go back to 2012 with Dr. Hartstark. She's delightful. We love her. She knows AnCan very, very well. She's a very well qualified GU medical oncologist. She's one of the very few now. There was at one time about three in Northern California, but she's the only one. She was in Oakland for years. The bad news is, hate to tell you, but you're going to have to cross the bridge.
Okay.
And
not true, Brick. I have never seen her in person.
Yes, but you've had other doctors, and
I've had her only. The only oncologist I've ever had is her for 7 years now.
Well, I suspect she will want. If she wants to see you, she's on Geary. Okay, so you may have to go to Geary.
Okay.
But she's the lady that you want to run your care. Tell us a little bit about where they saw metastasis.
I've got the information in front of me, so it's all kind of doctor talk.
It's lymph nodes right near the prostate is where it essentially says it's spat.
Go ahead, Paul.
Mesentery lymph nodes. I'm looking at the paperwork from a MR body scan or a PET scan. The PET scan would be a little more informative.
Yes.
Okay.
Original nodal disease, end stage, positive regional lymph node.
How many?
It only
just sent all this to Jeff.
It's not plural.
Okay. So, if your disease is right now only in the lymph nodes, that's good.
Okay.
What treatment has been recommended?
Last November I did EBRT 20 times at Kaiser in Oakland. And then shortly after that, I started on the ADT, being abiraterone and Lupron.
Okay. So that probably sounds like a good treatment, although 20 sessions of EBRT is light, in my view. If it were me, I would have wanted the pelvic girdle treated as well, especially since I had disease in the pelvic, across the pelvis. And if they only did 20 sessions, my guess is they only treated the prostate. And that's something to discuss with Dr. Hartstock.
Okay.
Did
Yeah,
they
I believe
do
that the radiation therapy extended to the lymph nodes and the other affected areas.
But they only did 20.
Hmm?
They only did 20, right?
Correct.
I mean,
And
it's
there's a time was
possible.
kind of split between the prostate and the metastasized areas.
Yeah, but you see that 20 is what you would get in one or the other, but not both.
Okay.
Who did the RT?
Well, Kaiser, Oakland.
Okay, I don't know any of the docs at Kaiser Oakland. I know some of them in South San Francisco, but that's definitely a discussion you want to have with Dr. Hartstock.
I will. Thank you. Okay.
Okay, because it sounds to me like they were a bit light.
Okay.
How's your PSA doing? Is it down very low?
Yeah, it's non-detectable.
Good.
Less than 0.1.
Good. And how are you feeling?
I'm feeling pretty good, and not to complain too much, but just about a month before this all happened, I was diagnosed with rheumatoid arthritis.
Okay.
And so I couldn't start any treatment for that until after this. And then after this, I started for the rheumatoid arthritis. And it's been a long slog for about a year, but I'm feeling much, much, much better.
Okay. Well, that prednisone's probably helping you. How much prednisone
Oh, yeah.
are you on?
Yeah. Yeah.
How much are you on? 5 or 10?
I'm down to 5 right now.
Okay. 2.5 twice a day or 1.5?
No, 5 once a day. Any ideas?
Morning, or you take it in the morning or evening?
In the morning.
Okay.
9
if it's
to 10
not
o'clock.
bothering you, that's fine. If you find it's bothering you and you can't sleep or anything like, or different things, that you can switch it. But that sounds fine. Although we tend to think, and it's controversial. We tend to think now that 10 is better than 5. We used to think 5 was enough and you could get away with it. But the studies more recently show that 10 is better than 5. Our man Len Sierra is not here today. I don't know. I don't stay up on that literature, but Dr. John may, somebody else may. But again, you need to have a good discussion with Andrea whether she thinks you're better off on 5 or 10 given the most recent literature.
I was on 10 up till about a month ago, and then I throttled down to 7.5, and then now down to 5.
Okay.
I don't know if it's exactly for the both of my doctors have reassured me that the prednisone will help with the RA, and it'll also help with the ADT.
Why did you throttle down?
Up on the instructions of my rheumatologist.
Oh, okay. Well, then that may be a reason that we don't know anything about. Okay. But from a prostate cancer standpoint, we now seem to think 10 is a little better than 5.
Okay.
Thank you. Did they do any germline testing?
Sorry, any what?
Did they test to see if you have any inherited mutations?
Yes, they did. I did one genetic test, and everything it came out for the most part, I think, clear. And my kids aren't in any trouble because of.
Okay, that's good. How old are your kids?
44 and 28.
And what flavor is the 44-year-old?
Both young women,
Okay.
each with 2 kids. So I've got 4 grandkids and a big prostate.
Okay, great. All right. Any questions for us?
No, only that I just want to say thanks to everybody. And I just heard about it. I wasn't even prepared for this. I'm doing it on my phone, leaned up against something. So I'll be on my PC the next time with the app installed.
Okay.
Like I said
You
earlier,
did
I've only
great.
done. Okay.
You did
I'll get
great.
better at it.
You
Thank you so
did
much.
great. Who would like to talk to Paul about anything or everything? Hands? Any hands going up?
John.
Oh, well, yes, I should have asked the question, but since Jim Marshall's got his hands up, I'll let him ask the question. Go ahead, Jim.
Yes, Paul. Are you a veteran?
No, I'm not.
No. Okay.
Okay.
Thank you very
Let me
much.
just say, for the benefit of the two new men, we have some terrific other groups. One of them is called Men Speaking Freely. It will be meeting on Thursday night. It meets twice a month, first Thursday and third Thursday, in this room at the same time. And I would like Dr. John to say just a few words about why it's such a terrific group.
Okay.
Men Speaking Freely we're talking about, right?
Yes,
Sorry, I was writing something.
yes.
Our group meets twice a month on first and third Thursdays nights at 8 p.m. Eastern Time, so I guess 5 o'clock your time. It's our opportunity to talk, leave off on all this technical stuff and just talk about feelings, about
Oh, well.
surviving, about adapting, about being men, about what the disease and the side effects do to us, and to support each other. So you're welcome to come anytime.
Thank you. Yes, I'm writing this
There
stuff
will,
down as
there
fast
will
as I
be
can.
one this week. I
And
had
I,
another question while I have the floor, and
yes,
Alfredo, maybe Alfredo could help me with this one. But this single lymph node, and talking about whether it was in a radiation field or not, I think you said it was a mesenteric lymph node, and that is a little farther north than the usual pelvic lymph nodes that we see in our de novo guys, including myself. Can you help me a little bit with that anatomy, Alfredo? Is that
Yeah, mesenteric is
out
way
of
north.
the field?
Yeah, I wouldn't have
Yeah.
said mesenteric node is in the pelvis at all. So
No,
I see
and
also I
that's
have the distant metastasis.
say that again.
I see another note here. I'm just kind of refamiliarizing myself with this stuff. A distant metastasis, M stage, metastasis involving extrapelvic lymph nodes.
Yes. That
Yeah.
must be the mesenteric lymph node. Yeah.
Okay.
So if you didn't get any radiation to that guy, you see there's a disconnect here, right? If you got pelvic radiation, that would have missed
Yes.
the mesenteric node. If you got the mesenteric node, then what about the pelvis? It's confusing. That's all.
Yeah, I understand that, and I can double check and know by the time I come back next week. But I'm pretty certain that I did. I saw the timing, the dosage, and the duration of each, and it was kind of split up as a percentage for here, there, and there.
Okay.
That
That's helpful.
I would definitely review your RT plan with Dr. Andrea.
Yeah.
You
Okay,
can
yeah,
even
thank you.
say to her, the AnCan guys really want you to cast your great eye over the RT plan, please.
Okay.
Okay? She'll know. Okay, she knows
All
us
right.
pretty good.
Yep.
Okay. Anybody else like to contribute? You're a quiet bunch today. Anybody else want to contribute to Paul? All right, I'm grabbing the floor before somebody else because we're done with the two new guys
Hmm.
in an hour. That gives us about 5 minutes a person for the 11, but I'll stay on as long as it takes. And I have to say, for reasons having nothing to do with who arrived here first, and because I cannot contain my curiosity any longer, I'm going to start with Mark and ask him, why the hell did you get a haircut? What happened?
I was getting hair in my mouth when I ate, and I was tired of looking like a mad scientist. Yeah, I feel good about my new haircut. Kathy
You
likes
look
it.
great.
Thanks.
You look younger. You look great. What do you think of it, Kathy?
Oh my gosh, it's such an improvement. We can't believe it. He just looks like a different person.
All right, I'll spare you the embarrassment of having an actual vote with people putting their hands up. But let me just say, it does look very, very good. Maybe it'll keep it out your eyes and you'll see those birds better as well.
I think so. I think so.
Okay,
So,
your haircut earned you the first position today.
wow, that's a nice trick to know. I'll kind of give just kind of a quick review. So I was Gleason 9, and I'll kind of cut to the chase here. I just had my third biochemical recurrence, and I had a PSMA PET scan, and there was a suspected lesion found, and I'm going to meet next week with my radiation oncologist. Yeah, this was found on the sternum, this lesion. So I met with my GU medical oncologist last week, and a couple things she said is that she knows that I'm, like all of us, afraid of becoming hormone resistant, and we've talked about the side effects of ADT, the cardio and so forth, and she was kind of saying that she's trying to extend the time that I'm off systemic therapy. Likely she knows I'll be on it at some point. So the result of our conversation was that she talked me into enrolling in this study called the Promethean study. And I don't know if people are familiar with this study, but it's basically for people like me that have had a prostatectomy or radiation. They've had a PSMA PET scan, and they're metastatic. Oligo. So there's two groups in this study. So both studies that are randomized will have SBRT. One of the studies, one of the groups is assigned a placebo, and the other group is assigned Regulix for 6 months. So I guess kind of my question is, like, does this? I mean, I like the idea of a study to help other men. Does this Promethean study make sense? I know there's, but I wouldn't be guaranteed even to be on hormone therapy, and I know there's doublet therapy. So I think my doctor is not being overly aggressive right now. But maybe that's okay. Maybe it's not okay. So I guess I'm kind of left in a little bit of a confused state.
And also, because he's at this stage, we're wondering if we want to have a second opinion outside of Fred Hutch, where you might suggest Mark go for a second opinion.
Okay.
Yeah.
So here's what I would say, and then I'm sure this will generate some good discussion. This is a study that you absolutely do not need. They need you more than you need them.
Yeah.
And so we have one of these situations which we find, and God bless Heather Chang. She's a great doctor. We love her. She's very good. But these docs cannot avoid this academic conflict of interest, which we loathe. Why is it an academic conflict of interest? Because Dr. Chang has the ability to either give you radiation plus Orgovix, radiation plus Orgovix plus an ARSI, or radiation alone or the doublet alone, right? So all of those things are 100% available to you.
Yeah.
So you don't need this study. And frankly, what I would say is, I don't need the study. I don't need the study I would rather not do hormone therapy if I didn't have to. What's your opinion of what I should do? And if
Mhm.
she says, well, I think you should do hormone therapy and radiation, you'll say, well, that's what I'd like you to give me. If she says you can get away with it, that you'll say that's what I'd like you to give me, because why should you take the chance of doing radiation and get hormone therapy when you don't want to do it?
Right. Right.
Right? And
Yeah.
and the other thing is, and how big is this lesion on your sternum?
She didn't say.
She didn't say. Yeah. I am going to meet with the radiation oncologist next week, but yeah, she didn't say.
Yeah, we know what the
I mean,
SUV
you know,
the
Yeah.
SUV
It was like-
level was 8.5,
Yeah.
but she didn't show us the film and describe how large
I mean,
it was.
I think there are men in this group who don't have super aggressive disease, and yes, we know it's come back, but thank God it's never come back very aggressively, who might say, I'm just going to do the radiation.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, but there are other men who are more risk averse who would say, I want to do the radiation plus something else. It's a very tough. This is your third CR, correct?
Yes.
And how
My
high
third-
did
Well,
Oh,
it's your third biochemical recurrence. You know,
Yeah.
he had the original diagnosis, and 6 weeks after surgery had a recurrence. So we had salvage radiation plus
Yep.
18 months of ADT.
Yeah,
And then a year later, he had a recurrence and had
right.
that lesion, 2 lesions treated with SBRT and 6 months of ADT, just one agent. They tried him on abiraterone for 2 months along with the ADT, but he didn't tolerate the abiraterone. His
Right.
liver function tests shot up. So they
Right.
didn't
So,
try him on.
and there are other. How high did your PSA get this time?
It was 0.42. It's been rising, up to it doubled in like
3 months.
no, it doubled in like 5 or 6 weeks.
Okay, but again, at these low levels,
Yeah.
it doesn't mean as much as say Bob Alvord's, which doubled from 1.71 to 3.71 in a few weeks. So
Okay.
go ahead, Russ. What's on your mind?
I was going to say, I'm actually kind of familiar with that study. I'm in Phoenix. They're running one arm here, or
Yeah.
one recruitment center here, and I've talked to the doctors. And with you, Rick, your insurance. This is a trial that's funded by, I think, it's the NIH,
Yeah.
and they don't really fund much of anything. You still have to go through your insurance. When I found that out,
Mm.
I'm out of it. I don't want to do it because I can do things on my own. I can decide, do I want to Aqua? This Orgavex. I can decide what I want to do, or do I want to do neither? Do I want to do both of them? Or my philosophy is, I did SBRT a couple of years ago. It hasn't had a recurrent since, but the ADT portion of it, or Nubeqa, I don't think it's been proven that you need to do it long term. And I think that it has been. I talked to the chair of Astro, and I think it has been shown to a good degree of satisfaction that you need to do it if you want the radiation SBRT to be extremely effective.
Right.
But
Right.
you do it long term. And I don't know the trial details. When I found out that I was going to have my insurance, they were going to have my insurance pay for it anyway, I said, okay, I'm out.
Oh.
Okay.
Well, our concern was, if he did join the study, was he might be undertreated, randomized to the treatment, so our dilemma is, who can advise us on how important is it to have hormone treatment along with the SBRT, which we want him to have, the
Yeah.
SBRT, because
Yeah.
it is.
Yeah.
I think we need to ask Dr. Chang that directly. I think we need
Yeah.
to go back to her and say, taking the study off the table, what do you recommend that six months of hormone therapy with the SBRT?
Yeah,
And if so,
good
which
There's a bunch of trials, Stomp and Oriole, and there's a number of trials that actually looked at this, and I'm sure he knows which one they are, and he can point out the links, or you can go to clinicaltrials.gov and look for it yourself if you want to. You can see for yourself, well, what is the difference, and what recent grade did these guys have, and what was their PSA?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I mean,
does it make sense for you?
My own feeling if it were me, if I was going to do hormone therapy at all, I'd be doing doublet. I wouldn't be doing mono on this.
Okay. Okay.
Or I'd do a mono ARSI, but I wouldn't do a mono ADT. I mean, and that's just my gut. I can't be pointing to the trials. I'd have to go back and look I don't know them as well as Russ. I'd have to go back and look at them. Let me
interject. I support you 100%. That's exactly what I did. I did Orgovex and Nubeqa. I talked to the chair of Astro, and he thought that was the way to go.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
what is Nubeqa? Nubeqa?
Darolutamide. Darolutamide.
Okay.
So darolutamide with the Orgovex?
Yeah, with the Orgovex.
Yep.
And how long
and SBRT as well?
SBRT.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And how long did you do the hormone therapy for, Russ?
6 weeks.
6 weeks.
Yeah, only 6 weeks. I wasn't convinced, and the RO wasn't convinced either that I needed to do it long term.
Okay. Okay. Dr. John, what's on your mind?
I was wondering, Mark, if you happen to know what your testosterone level was when your PSA went up and this metastasis appeared.
It's 137.
137.
Yeah. What are you kind of thinking along the line of that question?
If your testosterone level was 15 when this happened, then would suggest that you were becoming hormone resistant. But with a testosterone of 137, which is enough, it's not maybe a normal level, but it's enough fuel to let the cancer go on a little bit. So therefore, I think it would be fair to still think of yourself as hormone sensitive.
Okay.
Okay. Dr. Alfredo, and then we're going to move on.
I thought, Mark, I heard you and your wife ask about where can you go get another opinion?
Yes.
And so I'm thinking, wow, Seattle's way up there, but if you don't mind traveling, and others can chime in, what comes to my mind is UCSF or all the way down here to MD Anderson.
Okay.
Okay.
Well,
Thank you.
if I was sending Mark all the way down to Houston, I'd send her to Dr. Elaney.
Yes.
To be honest.
No, I agree.
Alfredo.
Yeah, I agree with that.
But, I wasn't thinking of that. Rahul is... They've lost so many good people over the last couple of years at UCSF, and and I look at some of the other choices, and they're okay, but they're not great, and I don't know them. Of course, I do know Rahul, and I know, and the other person who's very good, but he really does more bladder, but he's very good on prostate, is Terry. I'm having a senior moment. Friedlander, Terry Friedlander, who knows us well too. But let's first of all see what Cheng says, and then go from there. The other alternative is there are a couple of decent people at Huntsman in Utah.
Okay.
Oh.
Okay.
Which is another very good alternative. Save you schlepping too far.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right.
Thank
I'm gonna move on, and I'm gonna go to Mark Valens.
I just trying to figure out, somebody who's had more experience with Pluvicto than me, how long can the side effects keep getting worse after your infusion? I really didn't have any trouble after the first 2 infusions, and then here it is 3 weeks after my third one, and I'm just flat on my back, exhausted. My brain is all jumbled. So is this just the result of the Pluvicto, or is there something else going on? Who can tell me anything about what their Pluvicto experience has been?
Do I Do I need to volunteer somebody, or are they going to, okay, Frank's come up and I've got other people in my sights. If you don't put your hand up, just saying. Okay, Frank, go ahead.
Hey, Mark, I've been thinking about you and concerned about you because I know that we both are on the same treatment schedule. So I'm glad you said something tonight. And honestly, that's why I stuck around. Um, I finished my sixth treatment like about, I don't know, a month ago. And now my body is like coming back. I'm getting stronger, but so I kind of forget about the hard times when I was going through all the side effects. And it was rough. I have to give you that. It's not it's not comfortable. Um, those side effects. I trudged through them, and I'm here now. I mean, I'm just praying that you get the same results that I got. My results are good, and I don't want to boast, but so that's why I want to be gentle with this conversation because when we're at this stage, the Pluvicto stage, I mean, after this it's trials, and we know that the disease can come back or will come back, is what they're saying. So it's only a matter of time. I mean, I'm just, I know what it, I mean, I got my ass out of the bed. And honestly, marijuana helped me, and I'm not pushing weed on anybody, but I never really smoked weed, and I started smoking it, and it gave me it gave me energy, gave me my appetite. And I started working out at the gym. I started swimming. I swim 3 days a week. I work out 2 days a week. I play music. I'm cutting grass. I mean, I'm like unbelievably strong again. So I'm praying that that would be your future too, or hoping for you for that. So I'd say hang in there with the side effects. I thought they were going to get better. I'm like, I thought I had it figured out. Then by the fourth, fifth one, I was like, oh, the sixth one wasn't that bad. I was kind of, yeah, but 3, 4, and 5, it was tough. So I think you're in line. I just don't know, like my outcomes are unbelievably positive, and I'm like skeptically optimistic because I know things can change in a matter of time, but I'm not worrying about that. I'm trying to enjoy everything, and I'm trying to focus. Like, I don't want no more crap in my mind. I mean, I ain't got time for that anymore. It's about my family and about what's most important. So it's a game changer, and I'm thankful, and I'm rooting for you too, brother.
Well,
Hope that might have helped you.
Thank you, Frank. You give me hope.
Frank, I'm coming back to you because you haven't given us this update and we need it. We want to hear this fantastic update. So don't leave until I get to you. I'll get to you right away. But I want to
Okay,
come back to Mark.
I wanted to hear from Mark first because I don't want to be raining on anybody's parade.
No,
I want to
you're
be
fine.
sensitive. No, all
And
right, cool.
would the two of you please exchange emails so I don't have to make the link afterwards? So
Yeah,
so the two of you can talk to each other on the telephone and do whatever you're going to do, because I think that would be really, really good.
sure, that'd be very, very cool. All right, you get back to me. I'll be here.
Okay, don't go yet. Okay, I'm going to pick on Al Latimer because he's done more Pluvicto than everybody else all put together in this room. Mr. Latimer, are you there? Are you still with us? Well, he may not be with us. He may have left. He may have jumped off. Um, Anybody else with Pluvicto experience who would like to say anything to Mark? I don't know that we've got anyone else with Pluvicto experience in the room today. But, as I said to you, Mark, a couple of days ago, some people, it doesn't catch up with them till the third, fourth, and fifth. And as long as your blood counts are solid, I think you should be optimistic.
Well, the Pluvicto has been amazing on my bone mets. It it kicked a whole bunch out and it shrank all the rest. So my response to that has been excellent. It's the side effects. I just didn't know how long this was going to go on. But anyways, Dr.
Okay.
Agwal was so happy with how well I did that he said if I want to, I can take a break and wait another month and a half to go to my next Pluvicto.
Well, let me say one thing. You're going to think I'm nuts. And by the way, Frank put his email address in the chat window for you.
Great.
Some of you may have heard, and we will definitely talk more about this probably next week, about these amazing exercise results in from ASCO. Although I've also seen some legitimate people cast dispersions on the quality of the research. So I don't want to get into the pros and cons. I don't even feel qualified, but I think there is some good questions that can be asked. For us, it doesn't matter, because for us, we are exercise proselytizers and always have been, going back, in my case, 17 years. And one of the things I just loved was that I forget her name, Julie, whatever it is, who's the CEO of ASCO, saying, oh yeah, now we even think you should be doing exercise when you get your chemo, which we've said for years. So what I would like to say, based on what Frank is saying, is if you can get yourself out and move those bones for 15 or 30 minutes, as hard as it is, even get in a pool and splash around in a pool down at the Y, but whatever it is, I think it's going to make a difference. And I know you don't feel like doing it. I know it's counterintuitive. I get it. But I would say it's going to help to do something, whether you get on a bicycle, whether you get in a pool, whether you go for a walk, whatever you do, I think it's going to make a difference. Yes, Russ.
I was just going to look for some study. There's well over a dozen studies on exercise and how good it is for PCA, and that's a national recommendation of the U.S. government, and also United Kingdom. Most first world countries recommend exercise as the number one thing that prostate patients can do for themselves. There's a lot of mechanics behind it. My good friend of mine is an IFBB pro. He and I exercise a lot, at least an hour a day. And we're both Gleason grade 5 and T3B, T4, diagnosed 7 years ago. We're both hormone sensitive and doing great. And the doctors don't understand it. And both of our MOs came to the same conclusion. This shouldn't be happening with either of us. So I think exercise is I think we're at the tip of the iceberg of it. We don't know quite how powerful it is.
Back in 2012, and unfortunately, Russ, it's too hard for me to go searching when I'm in the lead. If I'm co-moderating, I can do it, but it's too hard. Back in 2012, June Chan published a paper at UCSF identifying some of the issues as to why exercise is effective for prostate cancer. And if you drop me a line or something, I'll send it back. But we've known this for years. The biggest issue is that when you are pretty advanced and you're going through treatment, it's like, are you kidding me? I can't even get out of bed, and you're telling me I got to exercise? Yes. Because why? Because we've seen guys do it and they've had results. And they do it and they feel better. Okay, they may not feel better all day, but they'll come back and feel much better for 3-4 hours. And then the next day they'll say, oh, that worked yesterday. Let me try it again today. And it helps. It really, really helps. My own hypothesis, purely a hypothesis, is that this Pluvicto gets to your bone marrow. and you're not producing your blood work the way you were, and that's what makes you feel crap. But your blood work doesn't show anything adverse, but I still think it's got something to do with myelofibrosis. That's what I think. Anyway, anybody else want to say anything to Mark, or should we move on? Okay.
Thanks.
Rolling right along here, Joe Commander.
He stepped away.
He stepped away. You're right. Okay, now I've got to uncross him out. That's not easy. I'll try and remember. All right, Dan.
Yeah, thanks. I'll make this real short and sweet. I got a PSMA last month. It was negative, so I'm quite happy with that. And then I followed up with the bone biopsy last week, and it was also negative for metastatic carcinoma. There's no evidence of malignancy in this sample, so we're leaving with that. Unfortunately, my oncologist wants to do another bone biopsy for MGUS, and
MGUS
can come up in the future. Go ahead, Dr. John. So that's all I have to report.
Okay.
And Joe's back.
Okay, Joe's back, so we'll come back to Joe in a second. But Dr. John, did you want to say something?
No, I didn't put my hand up or anything. Did you want to ask me a question about that, Dan? Dan has been keeping me up to date on all this.
Only in the sense that what Mark just reported and what Rick just said about Pluvicto, the oncologist is concerned about bone marrow, and that's why the other bone biopsy is required. And I'm thinking, trying to get ahead of the curve here. Maybe if it comes
What
up.
do they want to do? Another pelvic sampling?
Yes. Yes.
Different spot?
Different spot for a different reason. And into the marrow instead of just the bone biopsy, bone marrow.
Yeah, they'll probably go up to the iliac bone or something for that.
Go ahead, John.
So you really dodged a bullet by not having prostate cancer in that pubic bone. That was really good.
Yes.
They seem to think that the primary possibility is a healing fracture, and that business of Paget's disease is down on the list. I don't know if they're going to actually work you up for it or not. It doesn't sound like it. But
I think they were just covering their base when they mentioned Paget's disease.
Yeah, I mean, you could get worked up for it. There's tests, But if they're wondering what the condition of what they're doing now is they're talking about a bone marrow biopsy, and like you say, that's a whole different thing. Are you reluctant to let them do it?
No, because she's had this on her mind that she's concerned with it.
I think I'd do it.
Right.
What's your bone density, Dan?
I don't have it on the top of my head. I instead of spouting around, I just don't know right now. I wasn't prepared for that question.
Okay. But when was your bone density measured? How long ago?
A month and a half ago.
Okay, and it wasn't
low. That's why they put me on reclassed.
Okay. So yes, so you did have issues. So I learned something this morning, which is that there is a positive correlation between bone density, poor bone density, and MGUS. I can't tell you a lot about MGUS, but if you come to our blood cancer group on Thursday night, which will mean you can't attend Men Speaking Freely, I'm afraid, You will, because it happens at the same time in the other room, in the Schmier room. There are people in that room who are multiple myeloma coaches, trained coaches, two of them who moderate, and they are very familiar with MGUS because MGUS is frequently a precursor to multiple myeloma. So they may have some better input for you than we can give you in this room. But again, one of the problems that my dear buddy who I spoke to this morning had is that he's had a whole bunch of unusual results and they're fishing around and they don't know where to go. And, you're sort of in the same situation and we don't want them using you as a pincushion.
When's that meeting on Thursday?
Thursday night, 5 o'clock in the Schmier room.
Right.
The other room. Okay? Not this room, our other room. And
Right.
I will be there for a short time at the beginning before I run over to Men Speaking Freely. Jim Marshall.
Excuse me, Rick, for him, and wait, 8 o'clock on the East Coast.
Right.
And I will be there also.
Right.
And
so,
see you.
I just don't know what to say, but I do know that, fairly definitively, I don't want to say that because I don't know enough, but I think that one way to go is a bone biopsy. Another thing, what my buddy had was some electrophoresis, and then he did some other testing. I'm not even sure what it was because he went to see a guy who specializes in multiple myeloma and MGUS. And so I have a feeling there are ways to find out if you have MGUS that are less intrusive than doing a bone biopsy. But I honestly don't know. I'd be happy if you want to connect you to my buddy Fred because he does know and he's on our advisory board and he would be happy to tell you how they look. And he does know he has MGUS, but he has very, very mild MGUS, which the doctor says will never progress. But yes. Oh, yes, Gary. Do you have MGUS? I can't remember.
I do, and they can detect it with a blood test. The only purpose of doing a bone marrow biopsy is to see if it's already evolved into something more serious.
Ah, right.
A good point, Gary, that she already did that blood test, and that's what she's concerned with. That's why she wants to do the bone density. Oh, so they've already told you that the blood test showed you had MGUS. It's mild. She's just being conservative, protecting.
Okay, so are you saying that yes, you do? They've diagnosed MGUS already?
She has not positively diagnosed that. She's concerned with it, and that's why maybe she's being overly cautious, overly conservative. But she did do the blood tests. I'm seeing those results. The only one that looked bad to me was protein and iron. I asked her about that, and she said, "No, you don't need to take supplements for that." So she's just covering her behind.
Okay.
Give me,
all right.
Rick.
We're not going to get much further, and I think
Right.
we've got to move on in the interest of
Right,
time
but
today.
Rick, give me the contact whenever you get a chance.
Okay,
Fred.
so all right, let me make a note. Freddie and Dan Straub. And exchange emails with Gary Peters, and so he can give you some MGUS coaching.
Sure, thanks.
Okay.
Joe's back.
I see that Joe's back. Thank you. All right, Joe. You almost missed your term, but
I know. Should never leave the room, right? I have been, as you know, wanting to get on Nubeqa instead of whatever it is, uh, the more common recommendation. And I noticed that Bayer is bragging that they're going to start making a lot of money on it as soon as it gets approved for the use that I need it for in third quarter 2025, which is coming up soon. Wondered about the wisdom of waiting for that.
Well, let's see. Right now, what I don't have a note. What does Haas have you on beyond beyond the ADT?
It's just 80. It's just Orgovix right now.
Okay, so you still haven't started a second line.
Exactly.
So you're saying?
Did you say Haas?
Yes.
I don't know who that is.
I thought that was your. I thought that was your GU.
No,
Emma, who's your
Dr. Gatalia at Fox Chase.
Oh, I thought. Why did I think you were UPenn? Dr. Gatalia at Fox Chase.
Right.
Okay. All right. Ah, yes, Dr. Gatalia at Fox Chase. For some reason, I had you.
I might have gone for a second opinion there at one point.
That must be why. And I just screwed it up. I don't know. I mean, where's your PSA? It's undetectable?
0.1. I just had a test.
Okay. 0.1 or less than 0.1?
I think they said 0.1. I'd have to look to the show.
Okay. Well,
still going down, I guess.
You know, probably the wisdom is you should be on a doublet. If you were going to be on a doublet, the best one to be on would probably, to have the least side effects, would be darolutamide. But I wouldn't be betting the shop on when darolutamide is going to be approved. I thought they changed it and it was now approved for metastatic hormone sensitive without chemo. Am I wrong, John?
They didn't approve it. They applied for it.
Oh, they applied for it. They
didn't approve it. Whatever it is, FDA agreed to let them, accepted their application.
Well, I think you got to talk to Catalia and ask her, should I wait? Or, these are calls we can't make. I think that most of us would say, yeah, it's a good thing for you to be on that second line ARSI for a while. And if you're wondering when to start it, sooner rather than later, and stay on it for 6 months to a year, and then try and take a take a holiday.
What happened to Bayer's patient assistance program, or whatever they called it?
I don't know. I should talk to them.
It worked for me. Got a whole year of free medicine out of them.
I mean, yeah, but the other thing right now is that, thank goodness, at least for now, you're capped at $2,000 and you can spread that over the year. Not now, you can't, but you could. I think you've got to spread it over 7 months now. But the most it can cost you is $2,000 for all your meds.
Right. I saw a note from Russ. He says it has been approved. Is that correct?
Yes, it has been approved. It was just approved for metastatic. Were you talking metastatic hormone sensitive prostate cancer patients?
Yeah, without chemo, not with chemo. Without chemo.
Before chemo. Arison trial concluded and FDA just approved it.
Oh, okay. Thank you.
Oh, so hold on a second. So you're saying it was approved, but the FDA, who approved it?
The FDA did approve it. If you look in your chat, as of mid-2025, they just approved it. So it's approved
Oh,
for
they just
regulatory has approved it for use for metastatic hormone sensitive prostate cancer before
okay. Thanks.
they just
Okay,
did it. You're welcome.
that's so. There you go. So thank you, Russ, and there's your answer,
Yeah,
Joe.
thank you. Thank you. I'll be talking to her later this week. So
Okay, I missed that. I missed that. All right, we're going to keep rolling here. Sorry, everybody, that we're not giving you as much time as you usually get. Stephen T.
Thank you, Rick. Yes, I got a question along the lines of what Mark Baldridge brought up, study related. I saw a trio of oncologists at the Carbone Cancer Center in Madison, Wisconsin recently, and I have the opportunity to participate in a study. And I was just wondering if the group can offer some advice on how to evaluate whether or not to do so. And I got some flavor of the attitude after the discussion that Mark Baldridge had.
Mm-hmm.
So thank you.
Do you want to tell us what the study is?
Sure, I've got a copy of it in front of me. I don't know how technical you want me to get. Should I read the study title?
Well, why don't you tell us what they're testing?
Oh boy, I don't. I'm not prepared to answer that. But according to the title, it says this is phase 1 of 2. It's a trial of androgen deprivation with or without something called PTVG-AR and with or without T-cell checkpoint blockade in patients with newly diagnosed high-risk prostate cancer.
Okay, so one, I mean, again, we'd have to see it, and there's probably a study number. If you can put the study number, the NCT number that's in the chat window, that would help the boffins who are in the audience. But it sounds like it's a study to see if ADT with an immunotherapy agent is better than without the immunotherapy agent. And
yes, I think you got the gist of it.
right. Now, what about other treatments? Like, for example, radiation therapy up front, or even surgery up front, whatever you're deciding. Have those been discussed?
Yes, I've seen a urologic oncologist and a radiation oncologist about that, and I'm leaning toward the surgery.
Okay. Do you have the results back of any of your genetic testing?
No, but that's due in probably a week or so.
Okay. So that might be really important. All right. In terms of surgery versus radiation, I think our position is pretty consistent. Even though it's antiquated, we like to run the MSKCC nomogram that we've given you in the past, mentioned in the past, and we need to know what's the likelihood that surgery alone is going to be successful.
I did run that. Yeah, yes.
Go ahead.
I did run that, and I think off the top of my head it was like 39 or 43%.
That the surgery would be successful, so that you had like a 60% chance of recurrence and a 40% chance of success.
Yes.
And are you willing to roll the dice for a difference of say 4% to do the surgery? So 4% better results?
Oh, when I say 39 or 44%, I mean I think that's the range of maybe I'm misunderstanding what that nomogram was indicating.
So the nomogram tells you how likely it is that your cancer is going to recur based on if you have surgery.
Okay, and I don't remember the exact number that it came back with, and it would take me too long to find the printout. But I think it was around 40% or 39, between 39 and 44%, if I'm remembering correctly.
39 to 44% that it would return.
I
The point here is,
I
Steve,
apologize.
yeah, I get it, but the point here is you got to internalize that result, because you can't be making decisions if you're not even sure what that result is and saying I want to do surgery. Let me ask you a question. If we told you your disease has a 60% chance of returning if you do surgery, would you do surgery?
Well, I guess it would depend on what the alternative is, and to
Well,
my
the
mind, the
alternative's
alternative,
radiation and hormone therapy.
yes, and right. So the alternative is that, and I guess I would want to know what the likelihood of recurrence would be if I did radiation plus hormone therapy. And I guess I don't know what that is at this moment.
Well, I don't know that we can tell you that, but what we can tell you is that you can do radiation and hormone therapy, or you can do surgery with a 60% chance that it's not going to work, and then you'll have to do radiation and hormone therapy.
Yeah, and that's kind of what I was thinking. As I look at the side effects of both, the hormone therapy and radiation are less appealing to me, and I'm thinking, all right, let's try the surgery, roll the dice. If the dice come up bad for me, then I'm forced into the ADT, and okay, then I'll do it at that point.
Okay, and if there was only a 40% chance that the dice would come up in your favor, you'd still do the surgery.
I guess I don't know. I'm not sure.
Well, that's what you got to decide.
Yeah.
We can lay it out for you, which is what I'm trying to do here. But you have to make the decision. Now, in my case, there was only a 30% chance, and I said, no, I'm not going to do it. Because the overall survival and radio-free progression and all the good things would only be improved by about 4% if I did the surgery, and it wasn't worth it.
Yeah, my
So,
other consideration is I have an enlarged prostate, so I've got symptoms from that, weak stream and more frequent urination. And I'm from what I've learned from the doctors I've spoken to, those symptoms are likely to resolve after a prostatectomy.
yes, but there's also a
I see
possibility.
Jim is nodding pretty strongly.
Well, yes, they are, but there's also a possibility that they'll leave you with incontinence.
Yeah.
So
Yes,
which
yes.
doctor? So okay, I've done. Joe has his hand up, and then let's go to the people. You go first, Joe.
When I was presented with the options of prostatectomy and radiation or hormone therapy, the idea of putting those kind of chemicals in my body was just something I couldn't deal with. So I was glad to go for the prostatectomy. I've pretty much regretted it ever since. or at least 3 years later, I started regretting it when it came back. And I wouldn't really recommend it to anybody at this point. That's a strong reaction, but that's what I'll tell you. And specifically in my case, it's incontinence, which I've had to live with. Pretty light incontinence as far as it goes, but it's, it controls my life in a certain sense. I have to think about it every day and deal with it every day.
Thank you. May I ask how long ago you had the prostatectomy?
12 years ago. And I've since had to do the hormone therapy and the radiation. I got more used to the idea.
Yeah. Yeah, and I've talked to others and they've said the same thing, that they had the prostatectomy and they had recurrence, so they had to get the ADT anyway, and if they had to do all over again, they'd skip the surgery. But then I think to myself, okay, but if I do the radiation and the hormone therapy, then the surgery is not out of the question, but much more risky to do that. Whereas if I do the surgery first, the radiation is still an option.
Yeah, but today you don't do surgery after radiation. We have too many other techniques. And any urologist who's telling you that is not going to be. I just have to mention to Russ that I am not going to be able to get all of this into the chat when we publish this, Russ. There's too many characters. So anybody who needs what Russ is posting, I advise you copy it down now, because we'll have to cut this out when we post it to YouTube and to and on the blog. We have a word limit on YouTube. Jim Marshall, go ahead.
I got a question. How active are you now?
I walk every day. Take the stairs instead of the elevator in and out of my apartment. I spend a lot of time in front of my computer watching groups like this and reading up on prostate cancer and so forth. But I think I'm reasonably active.
Well, I don't call that active like active. I was on ADT plus a second for 5 years. And I happen to tolerate it well because I was active, aerobic type stuff. Bicycle every day, but not really a strenuous ride, just to get out and do it. And then at the time I got tired or I didn't do it, I forced myself outside. And as I said, I tolerated it for 5 years. And now I'm approaching a 3-year treatment holiday, and it's great.
So let me just say, and that's helpful, Jim, but let's try and stay on point, because we got so many people here today. And what we're trying to decide right now is the immediate treatment. How you cope with the ADT will help you with that, if that's what you decide. Alfredo, Dr. Alfredo.
I'll be very brief. In my own treatment, when I was seeking my second, third, and fourth opinions, I came to the point where I said, there's really only one thing that matters to me. I'm 71 now. I said, I just don't want to be incontinent, period. And so the surgical option had significant risk of incontinence, 100% for 2 weeks or 2 months, and then 50% for, it didn't matter to me what the percentages were. I saw the radiation oncologist, and they said there's almost no risk of incontinence. I said, great, I'm done. I've decided what to do. So for me, that was very simple. I'm glad I made that decision. I have no regrets. That's all. Data point of 1.
Thank you. So, we're going to have to keep going through this, but I really want to get you clear, Steve, on what you're looking at here. And if you decide to do the surgery, God bless you. Just recognize there's a very, very high chance. I'm going to move on, Russ. Sorry, just because we've got so many people, and it's already 6:55. Matt, are you still with us? Or did we lose you?
He left about 15 minutes ago.
Oh boy. All right. I sort of know my customers who go early, and I know he's one of them, and I tried to get to him, but I didn't. Ed, what's on your mind today?
Well, Thursday I go for my first shot of Firmagon, so I was wondering what to look forward to.
Who would like to talk to Ed about starting hormone therapy with Firmagon? John A. Dr. John.
I tolerated my first several Firmagon shots quite well. After maybe 3 months or something like that, I started getting local reactions that were pretty bad. And finally, I had such a bad reaction that I had to give it up after about 4 months. So that's my particular experience.
Anybody else?
I've heard from a lot of people about it, Rick. And most people, after a few shots, start to have some real uncomfortableness in their stomach for the first 2 or 3 days after the shot. And it is not pleasant. And if you got to take Firmagon, take it for 1 month and tell them you want Orgovix. That's that way you get over the flash. But some doctors in Canada especially, they seem to like Firmagon.
The problem is we can't get Ed's insurance to give him Orgovix.
Yeah, I've been through 3 appeals for the Orcovix, and they've turned every appeal down.
A 3-month Lupron would be better than a Firmagon. Well, he'll find out. The shot is very uncomfortable after a while. I know that. I've heard from multiple people about it.
What else can you expect? Well, probably within 4 weeks, you'll start to feel some of the side effects of hormone therapy. And as you feel them, you'll come on here and we'll talk about them and we'll tell you how to deal with them. And they affect everybody very differently. Some people, it can be hot flashes, it can be muscle weakness. But usually those take longer. It can be mental health issues. Some people respond with depression. But again, these take a while. None of them are really good. I wish I could say you'll feel bad on this one, but you'll feel better on this one. Well, the better on this one ain't so good. You're gonna lose you're gonna lose body hair and stuff like that. But we're here to support you, and and I think Jeff's right that if you switch to a 3-month depot Lupron, once you've done your 1 month of Firmagon, that won't make any difference.
Okay.
If you can't get it. Dr. John. I thought
Did I have my hand up?
Yeah, you did for a while.
Oh, well, I was going to say about my first Firmagon shots, I've already mentioned that. Other than that, the symptoms of androgen deprivation will come in over the next month or two. And they're just like Rick pointed out.
Okay.
Mr. Baldridge.
Yeah, I was going to tell Ed that I had 18 Firmagon injections, and I tolerated them okay. Of course, there's the hot flashes. But yeah, from the Firmagon, the only thing I kind of noticed was that the first couple days, it was a little bit sore right where I had the injection in my lower abdomen. So it was just a little sensitive for a couple days. And, it takes a while for that bulge to kind of go away, but the swelling. But I tolerated it okay. I mean, yeah, maybe every 3 months is better, instead of having to go monthly. But
Thomas, you've had your hand up to comment on this one.
Yeah, I did. I've been doing the Firmagon injections since April of 2024, and I've kind of gotten used to it. The side effects that have been mentioned, I went through those. I still get semi-hot flashes and some fatigue and that sort of thing. The immediate aftermath is a good sized bulge where they do the injection, and it does cause a little bit of pain, but over 2 or 3 days that subsides. So I guess from my point of view, I've kind of gotten used to it. And the worst part of it is having to drive through Portland, Oregon traffic to get to OHSU to do this. So I am considering going with the Orgovix though, but the Firmagon has not. I heard people back out on it right away. And people are different. I seem to tolerate it fairly well, even though it does have some negative side effects.
Okay, Ed.
Well, sounds like everything has negative side effects to it.
Yes. Everything does have negative side effects. As I tell people, when you got prostate cancer and it's recurrent or advanced or high risk, there's no such thing as a free lunch.
No, I guess not.
But you can finish up on the right side of the grass.
Yes,
and that's what we're all trying to do.
Yep. We got to play the hand we're dealt with.
That's right. All right, forgive me if I keep moving along because we're at time and I really want to try and get to everybody if I can. So next person is RJ Smith.
Hi, yeah. So my update is, first of all, with Fred Hutch, when they got my PSMA PET scan and saw the metastases, they said, "You're not a good candidate for this multidisciplinary board." Said, "You need to get in to see a medical oncologist." And then so they canceled the board thing and signed me up for the first available. And then I said, "I want Dr. Schweisler." And they said, "Well, why?" And they tried to talk me out of it. And I said, "No, that's who I want." And they said, "Well, it's going to take longer." So anyway, to make a long story short, on the 24th of this month, I have an appointment with him as a new patient. So I have that set up. And then tomorrow I have an appointment at Swedish with their GU medical oncologist. So I was able to get in much sooner to see that oncologist. And I thought, well, I'll go and then see what he says. Is Dr. Song Xiao, and he's a GU medical oncologist. And then also he had sent a message and said, "Okay, well, thank you for referring him. Like one of the things is if the volume is low on the bone scans, that I might still be a good candidate for radiation." And then also on Wednesday, I still have my appointment to the consult with the surgeon, which he said, well, there's a trial where if he really wants to get the surgery, he can get the surgery. I'm still weighing that, but the whole incontinence thing seems like it would be a little bit overbearing given everything else that I'm facing. So it is a couple extra percentage points. So as I'm kind of like looking at, like what my different options are, I thought, well, I have the appointment anyway. I'll go see the surgeon and let him make his piece and, let that play into the calculus. But essentially, like, if I can get the radiation, that's great. Otherwise, it sounds like this triple therapy is the way to go. So I thought, well, I'll go see the Swedish, medical oncologist, let him come up with a plan, and then evaluate that, come back here, see if that's what that sounds like, and then maybe just go to Dr. Schweitzer for the second opinion. And then if I can get in, then I'll be in.
So what I would say on all of this is that going to Dr. Chow is a good primer for when you go to Hutch, because he's going to tell you and give you some things and give you some questions. I would definitely go to Hutch anyway. I wouldn't go, but use that appointment to educate yourself, number one. Number two, let them know that if there's a cancellation, you'll grab it with Schweitzer, and call them up and tell them, because it can happen. The other thing I would say, and I think Mark Baldridge would agree, is that if there's a sooner appointment with Dr. Chang, take it, because she's also very, very good, and you'll like her. So you can say to them, I'll take an earlier appointment with Dr. Schweitzer, but if he's not available, and one comes up with Dr. Chang, I'll take that too. Okay. And if they say, well, why are you picking? You say, because their patients are telling me and talking to me. I'm doing this based on patient referrals, and that should shut them up. Okay. So, I'm sure that if you start treatment this month, all will be good. You heard us talk enough about the surgery versus radiation. You may not be a good candidate initially for either. There's no reason why, and you should discuss this with your doctors, medical oncologists especially, that you might be a candidate for radiation down the road within the next 9 months to debulk. Steve L. Mr. Lodge, go ahead. You got to unmute. You'll have to start over and unmute.
Okay, RJ, have you figured out how many Mets you have? I've heard 1 at one point and 5 at another point. If not,
I'm going to figure that out. I have a list of questions for Dr. Shao. That is a question I have. The SUV numbers is a question I have. The somatic genetic testing is something I would like him to work with Dr. Evans to get set up. And then also probably the, germline genetic testing. And so that also is like my list of stuff of, please help me get started on this stuff before, figuring out the treatment plan.
Yeah. Because the number of, Steve is right. The number of spots, the total number of spots is going to be very, very critical, as you heard earlier in this discussion today with another gent. So it's really important to know how many spots you have.
Now, what the nurse said is that there's one confirmed metastasis because they see the lesion on the bone scan, and the rest of them are just spots, and she couldn't comment on the spots because she didn't have the SUV numbers.
Well, somebody should be giving you that, and since it came from Swedish, that's the place to start. And then when you go and see the Dr. Cheng or Dr. Schweitzer, then they'll confirm those with you. Because you can't be moving forward without knowing that, and you can't be making any decisions about surgery, radiation, or other type of treatment. Don Rogers. You're muted, Mr. Rogers. You'll have to start over.
I would suggest you contact the radiologist that read your tests directly
and say, I want to talk to you, or I want to sit down with you, and I want you to explain your reading of this test. And a lot of times they'll say, wait, we don't meet with patients. You go, wait a minute, you're my doctor. And I've done this successfully twice, and it's amazing what they will tell you when you're sitting across the table from them. Then they'll put actually on the written document that they submit.
Okay, that's a great idea. Thanks, Don.
Yep. Uh, I love it. We love that. You be your best advocate, and then when you go in and see the other doctors, you're informed, and maybe the radiologist was wrong, maybe you got the wrong impression, but they know they're dealing with an informed patient and not a ragdoll. We love it.
Good. Thank you.
Fantastic advice. All right, I'm going to keep moving along here. Keep moving along. Let me see. Who's likely to leave very quickly? Dennis Correa. I know him. He'll be out of here any second. Doug is going to wait. I know. Doug
Thanks,
will wait.
Rick.
But that Dennis Correa, he's going to be gone in a heartbeat if I don't get to him soon. Go ahead.
Okay. Low back pain. Been persistent throughout my diagnosis and treatments, and part of it's just my physical makeup. Got osteoporosis, degenerative disc disease, and Mets in the lumbar.
How about long-term? How about long-term
9
chronic
years.
golfitis?
9
How about
years.
long-term chronic golfitis? Does that contribute to lower back pain, do you think?
Yeah. Yeah, the golfing, matter of fact, this is what happened is about a month ago now, I did play in a golf tournament. And about 3 days after, my back pain started to move to the right side, kind of where the iliac crest is on my right side. And I got the idea that this is probably a sciatica situation. I don't think it's associated with any of the tumor activity that I've had in my lumbar there, because my last PSA is continuing to go down to 0.13 the last time, about a little over a month ago, just before the golfing. So golfing probably did something there. And I'm trying to treat this thing. I did see couldn't get in to see my GP today. Did get to see a PA, and she confirmed, agreed with me, basically, not confirmed, but agreed that likely is sciatica from her examination of me and the data. And I do have an appointment with Tucson Ortho, a spine guy there, to get whatever test I need. Probably an MRI would be necessary to conclude that that's what it is. But it's really cramping my style. I could barely walk in from the parking lot to the doctor's office this morning with the pain. And I'm taking Advil, and now I'm at the max dose of it, and it's working, but not completely going away. It's just killing the pain. It's not solving the problem at all. So I don't know if anybody else has had anything similar like that. Dr. John has left. I was going to ask him. I think acupuncture is a possible treatment for that. And I would have to do some searching to see who in the area here would do that. But I'll get more information in about a week from now.
I think there's some decent acupuncturists around here in Tucson. I don't know for sure. Write to Dr. John and ask him. He may be able to help you with that. Dr. John at AnCan.org, because he may be able to help you. Maybe you can convince him to bring his needles down and come in sooner than he was anticipating. I don't know. I doubt it. What I would say is, we're coming up on a year since your last PSMA. And so before too long, you can definitely ask for another PSMA.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I
And that,
was gonna wait till around August, but so
well, that's 2
I do
months
the
away.
PSA. PSA is getting monitored. Like I said, that was just over a month ago. The last one, every 3 months, I'm doing PSA.
And what was your last PSA?
0.13.
Okay. So another thing you could do is do another PSA right now. Make sure your PSA isn't going up.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't have to be every 3 months.
Yeah.
It's cheap.
Yeah.
And you want to find out, and if you come back and you say, you know what, my PSA was 0.26, maybe that's a reason to do a PSMA test. That's a very simple intervention.
Yep.
So when was that 0.13, did you say?
That was let's see, just before the beginning of May, end of April.
Okay, so I think that might be the place I'd start. Just make sure that your PSA's still staying low.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it doesn't seem likely that it would make that big of a jump for tumors to grow to a size that would, impact the nerve in that
You're
area.
right.
Yeah.
You're right. In principle, you're absolutely. It doesn't seem, but for the sake of a PSA, what's the harm in looking?
Right.
We want to do more fancy tests. We want to do PSMA tests, and they cost a hell of a lot more. For the sake of going and getting your blood drawn, I would say that's an easy way just to see if there's any sort of red flag out there.
Okay. Yep.
Anybody want to say anything? Yes, Tony Fig has his hand up.
Yeah, Dennis, I'd strongly recommend looking into seeing a physical therapist. When you go, they'll do an initial evaluation, move your legs around, move your body around, and they can determine maybe what's causing the sciatic or the moving around of the pain, but at least they can give you some idea of what you're looking at. And then from there, they can give you some exercises to start. They'll be easy exercises, but they'll start to give you something to alleviate the pain, discomfort, and maybe that'll help you with being able to walk around and get around a little easier.
Yeah, thanks, Tony. I've been doing. I looked up, consulted Dr. Google for the exercises for the sciatic, and been trying those out just gently, and maybe they've helped a little bit. That and walking I do every day. So, but this is that, and I'm concerned about the heat or cold is best for this. I'm starting to find out that the cold gives me a little more relief. I have a backyard spa hot tub thing that I do. It's very, very comforting, mostly from a muscle relaxant type of thing for me. But I don't know that that's really helping or hurting the situation, because it seems in the last couple of days when I did that is when my pain got worse later. So I'm thinking.
Now, Frank has his hand up, and at the same time, whilst we've got him, Frank, please tell us about these improvements. I forgot to come back to you. I'm sorry. Thank you for hanging in.
No problem. I was going to ask Dennis, like, what were you doing before the golf? I mean, are you an active guy? I mean, or
Yeah.
like, what
Yeah,
did you do?
I was playing golf twice a week.
Oh, okay.
Plus my walks, plus I do weights, plus I do aerobics.
Yeah.
So I
had the same problem. I had a problem with my back, and I did construction my whole life, so my back will kind of go out. And I know what you're talking about when you gotta like. Sometimes I had to crawl into the doctor's office, on my hands and knees like a toddler. But For me, I found out that stretching my quads and stretching my legs and like doing that kind of stuff, that's my back is unbelievably good. So I went to on vacation like 2 weeks ago to Florida, and I slept and me and my wife stayed at a resort, and I slept in a bed that wasn't my own bed, and I'm messing around on the beach, walking up and down in the sand, and we woke up to go to the airport, and my back went. I said, "Oh crap, man! I ain't gonna be able to walk to the end to get out of the resort." And it was that moment that I had that like that pain, and I couldn't. Man, I said to my wife, "I'm gonna make it to the Uber," and I got to the Uber and I got home. But I got home and I recovered. I just keep trying to stretch out. So I don't know what your experience is, but
Yeah, that's what I do, mostly stretching, mostly mild stretching of my back muscles.
yeah. So
But I'm
anyway, that's it.
also starting to get a little numbness in that right leg. No pain going down the leg, but just a little bit of numbness. So,
Yeah.
All
Try
right.
some water aerobics. Go ahead.
Yep.
Yeah, water aerobics is great.
Yep.
Let's move on.
Rick,
We're going to
Rick,
move
I
on to.
got one quick thing for this. I've had lower back pain on and off for probably 10 years, maybe 15. And there's this belt. It's called the back align belt. It's just incredible for lower back pain. It has a cinch that you cinch it up really tight. And I always forget to take it off, put it back on after I get out of the shower. And I've just been in severe pain for 2 or 3 days, and it's just the first time I found that belt. And I've used it every time, and I've told a lot of other people about it. The company went out of business, but there is somebody that sells them for about $45. They're back a line. They really work incredibly well.
Okay. So I've got Dennis, I've got Frank, and then Doug. Frank, give us a very quick update on these great results, because the last thing I have for you is back in January. So I'm thinking that maybe you got some PSA and you got something to tell us. Some
Yeah.
PSMA results.
6 weeks post 6 rounds of Pluvicto. So that my last treatment was 6 weeks. So my PSA, I don't know if what you have it, but it was like 200, and now it's down to 0.82.
Woo! Okay, man.
I wrote down that like I started working out, swimming, water aerobics. I mean, I'm really like treading water and really getting a good water workout. And I started working out with weights probably about the beginning of my Pluvicto treatment, so just before it. And I was like, "Wow, hell, what's this going to do?" So what ended up happening is every treatment that the day I did my treatment, I took like 7 days off of working out, and then I got right back. So it was constantly like going down, rebuild, going down, rebuilding. But now I've been back rebuilding 6 weeks, 6 weeks. Yeah, 6 weeks since my last treatment. I feel pretty good. I mean, the day of my last treatment, I came home and cut my grass. But anyway, this is what the impression of the nuclear scan.
Yes.
Basically the brief is that it says when compared to previous SCARI, there is very impressive response to treatment. Previously seen innumerable and uncountable variable size abnormal foci of variably increased tracer activity scattered extensively throughout the axial and ependycular skeleton are no longer seen. Sclerosis at the sites of known osseosis disease persists, but none exhibit residual abnormal tracer accumulation. And then point two, previously seen tracer avid left common iliac lymph node is also not seen today. No new tracer avid suspicions lesions are seen in the visualized body. So, I mean, that's like a damn miracle. But I know that now it's like waiting for how long, but I ain't worried about that. I think with this disease for me is like, I mean, I don't know about any of you, but I've been getting up off the mat my whole life, man. I've been knocked down, get up off the mat, knocked down, get up off the mat. That's been like the kind of the story of my life. So I was in my shower last week taking a shower, and I'm getting pretty, you know, strong again. I lost 25 pounds, which I'm so thankful for that through the treatments. And I'm trying to keep that up. I've totally changed my diet. You know, it's all vegetables and protein and vegetables and more protein and salad and then vegetables and more protein. You know, that's my diet. It's fish, whatever. But I was in my shower and I was like, just yeah, you know, stretching out, and I'm like, the hell, man, I'm getting back up off the mat again. So I went to my kids and I told them, I said, you know, we were having a party. I go, look, I got a big announcement to make, and they were like, what, man? They were like, oh crap, what's he gonna say? So I go, look, I just want to let you know that my funeral has been postponed indefinitely. So you can all stop worrying about me now, because I'm gonna live, and you know, look, that's all
Yay.
there is to it. So stop worrying about me. So that's kind of the joke, and I feel great, man. I'm cutting grass. I mean, I'm running out. I was running after my grandkids. I'm pick up my grandkids. It's like and so here's my theory is that with the disease goes to the bone, but it's only like, you know, it's kind of like surface at some points. So they could scrub that off, but for me, I needed to rebuild the muscles. That's my thing. Like I'm rebuilding the muscle around my bones. I mean, I have a broken left rib. I have something like my fourth vertebrae in my lower back. They said they're not sure if it was fractured or if it's healed, you know, if it's scar tissue or whatever. So I mean, I beat my body up without a doubt. But you know, I'm going to keep going, and I'm just living. And I told my wife, man, I just want to focus on, you know, what's happening today, you know, like I want to be present with her today, and I want to be present with my kids today, and I don't care about my, you know, my sister-in-law in, you know, Florida and all her crap. I don't care about all that. I don't want to hear the noise no more, you know. It's just like
All right, Frank.
kind of like Zen master, you know. I kind of like I locked in with the Lord, and I locked in, and I'm feeling good. I mean, I'm
Look, Frank, we
getting back up.
we love it. You're going to be like one of those images that the they show, the nuclear medicine guys show a before and after. Russ knows exactly what I'm talking about, where we
It's like
see them all with all the black spots, and then we look to the right and there's a white. It's fantastic. Not only that, I just want to say, and you know, it's been an honor to work with you, and your
no,
attitude is so different.
Oh yeah, my attitude. Thank you.
Yeah, we
I appreciate it, man. Like, yeah, I mean, I chill, and I just, you know, I'm here to listen, and I'm here to learn, and I'm here to like, you know, grow as a man for myself, you know, and there's, you know, I told my wife, when you get to this point, you know, you like, what did I say to her? That you know what's most important for sure. And you know, I'm sad. The one thing is, I'm so pissed that it took me so long to figure that out, man. Because I wasted a
yeah.
lot. You know, that's the thing right there. That's the wisdom you get
So
out of being where we're at.
and don't ever pass up on sharing good news like that with this group, because they love to hear it. We've only got 14 guys left, and now I'm going to have to tell them all they've got to listen to the recording to hear you, because we may
Okay.
make you editors
Yeah.
pick this week, you know.
Look, I could take over the room, Rick, but I won't. You know, so I got to be like, I'm
I
like,
know, but this
I'm
is
so damn
great.
thankful for where I'm at, and just today from where I was, you know, and so I need to like. I had to learn through this video conferencing of like how I needed to behave, and so I had to say, okay, you got to just shut up and listen, you know, and that was it, and that's where I'm at, man. I appreciate you guys.
We appreciate you. All right, I'm going to Doug And
See you,
thank you
man.
for hanging
See you,
in,
man.
Doug.
God bless you.
And you got the last word today.
Okay, I really didn't have anything. But I just had a recent PSA, and it was just a little bit lower than my previous ones, so it's just very unremarkable.
And how lower was lower?
0.69.
Okay.
The last 15 months, it's been right between 0.7 and 0.8. So this is a very small drop, but
Got
very
one
much steady.
quick thing, because weren't we thinking about wasn't there a treatment decision that we were trying to make?
No, I don't think so.
No. Okay. So and
I
you
did
saw.
finally get to see Julie Graff, back in January, I think it was, and thank you very much for encouraging me to go ahead and see her. So she actually agreed with the other urologist and oncologist that I had seen. So I was I'm pretty comfortable with where I am right now.
And I'm just looking where I want to say ADT and Abby. What are you doing?
I finished my treatment in 2023 in February.
Yeah.
I had radiation and I did ADT. I did 18 months of ADT.
Okay, so basically, you're on no treatment right now?
Correct.
Okay. Yeah. So you were checking with Judy Graff to see whether you should resume treatment or not, correct?
Right.
And
right.
she's happy to watch you at this point.
Right. Yes. I'm on golf treatment now.
You're on golf treatment, did you say? Yes. Well, just be careful of your back, please, because we don't want another person with golfitis.
That's right.
All right. So you just watch that back. All right, guys. Listen, this has been a long session, but really good, and we couldn't have finished up better than it did. Anybody else have anything they want to ask, check, or do before we? Frank Chambra, yes. You got to unmute. Go ahead.
Yeah, I just want to let you know, man. This whole thing, through this whole Pluvicto, I was working with these guys to form a band. So these guys hung in with me through my treatments, and we just had our first gig on Memorial Day.
Yes. All right.
We might have some more gigs, but I mean, it's just local stuff, and it's like, and that was one of my goals, to get back out there and play. So it's awesome, man.
Have you been in touch with Jimmy to see if you can fly into DC and guest with him?
No, I'm not really into that, man. I mean, I'm not that good of a musician. I'll say like that.
I don't know. We could maybe arrange something for Jimmy. I think Jimmy would be truly honored if we
Man,
played
yeah, I
with
don't
him.
know. Yeah, I don't know anything about it. I mean, I'm a bass player. I could learn, but I'd have to really talk to him. I don't even know what you're talking about.
I gotta be reaching out to Jimmy when we say I gotta have a Jimmy is distracted right now because he's in the midst of acquiring a new house. This house is so big we can have a party for all the bloody AnCanners down the whole of the East Coast. It's like 4,000 square feet. I don't know what, and it's just him and his wife. I don't know what he's going to do in 4,000 square feet. And he's been living
I didn't know you had it like that, but that's amazing. I mean, I did drywall for 40 years, so a 40,000 square foot house is
no,
pretty.
not 40, 4,000. 4,000.
4,000. Oh,
yes,
yeah,
even so. But he's
Yeah.
been in a stoop house, a little stoop DC house for the longest time. He won't know where to. He'll be lost. You'll have to get navigation from one room to another.
He'll have a nice music room. I guarantee he's going to hook it up. Definitely.
Hey, Frank, what's your band's go-to song?
I mean, I never thought I'd be playing this stuff. We played Dire Straits.
Nice.
Sultans of Swing. We play Hendrix. We play some Jethro Tull. I can't really. I mean, we play about an hour's worth of music, but have two originals. But uh, um, our go-to, I think, would be Pink Floyd's Money. We also do Pink Floyd's Green.
Nice.
Green Money. Then we
That's
do
got a
Love
good,
it. Love
good
it.
bass
we do
line in that,
Santana
right?
at the end.
Good bass
Santana
line
is
in
like,
that.
yeah, Magic. Magic Gypsy Queen, and
You got
anyway.
any lava lamps going with when you play that Pink
No,
Floyd?
man, I ain't that stupid, man. I ain't that stoned. I'm just like chilling. Nah, but I feel like a teenager again. I'm retired, and what the hell, man? I could play music all day if I want, but whatever. I work out and my grandkids, so I gotta kind of I gotta make sure I stay steady on practicing music. So I'm always busy, which is good, man. So anyway, yeah. Good
Russ,
night.
what did you want to say to Mr. Chambra here?
Just really quick, I hear you about getting good news and feeling good about it. I got my PSA is 0.27. It's dropped from about 2 at SBR Teton a couple of years ago. My ctDNA has gone down to 0, undetectable. I'm still HSPC 7 years after diagnosis, Gleason grade 5, and all the bad stuff. And I was supposed to be, by statistics, I was supposed to be castrate resistant a long time ago. Actually, chances are I wouldn't be here today. So I'm kind of thankful for how it's going.
We would have touched base with you earlier, but we have a 10-minute rule here. You got to get in the first 10 minutes to claim time, because that's as you see, we have so many people. So, but you'll tell us the story. We'll spend more time with you, Russ. We've never done an intro with you, so get here in the first 10 minutes and we'll do the intro with you and go through everything so you get plenty of time to begin with. All right, guys, it's late. I'm going to eat something. Good night, everybody. Great to see everyone, even Baldridge, who we hardly recognize. Goodbye. Goodbye.